Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Supernatural, All in the Family. So, this was another big episode, had a lot of momentum going from the last episode with the reveal of God and all that. So, it was a really good one. And we got to see Kevin again. It was great. I was like, yay! And it was interesting because Sam and Dean finally got to meet God, and it was really interesting reaction-wise how they had it. Because Sam was all on board like, this is awesome, and Dean's like, you left us. And he was like really pissed off. But he was still wanting to help God get Amara back down and like either take her out or get her back into like a cage or whatnot. And it was interesting because they had Kevin pop up. He's like, hey guys, and then God let Kevin back into heaven because of all the spells and everything. He's like, alright, I got this. And it's like, yay, Kevin got a happy ending a little bit. And it was interesting kind of seeing what was going to be happening throughout the episode because they still needed to work on the plan to take down Amara. And what they really needed to do was find Amara, and God's like, I have faith in you guys. You guys will be able to figure it out and everything. Goes off and doing like more Chuck things rather than God things, which if you've been kind of hiding out like that, I could understand why you kind of be set in those kind of ways and everything. And as this is going on, Amara let a fog roll through her town and pretty much kill everyone except for one person. And Sam and Dean went to investigate, and it's the new prophet Donatello, and it's pretty interesting because it's the usual character who you wouldn't think. He was an atheist, a professor, and all that kind of stuff. And then he's they brought him to talk to God. He's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? It's pretty cool, yeah." And it was just go rah rah rah, he's freaking out and everything. And they're like, "Well," they brought up actually trying to get Lucifer back to kind of help him. He's like, "No, he disappointed me. He was my greatest hope, my biggest failure. No." But you gotta understand that Sam and Dean's like, well, we need to help Cass as well. And Dean's getting visions from Amara of Cass and all that, and she wants him to side with her. And it's got this nice kind of dichotomy that it'll be interesting to see how this season ends and the series goes forward with that kind of way. Because it's leaning towards, I'm thinking, like, Sam is going to be on God's side and Dean's going to be on Amar's side, whether he wants to be or not. We could set them up to almost be two sides of a war going into the next season if this kind of plays out in a kind of interesting way. Because they learn through Metatron, because he saw on TV that they were talking with Chuck, and he calls him up and says that God's planning on sacrificing himself to Amara to make sure that his creations stay intact, that he willingly go into a cage, so that way his creations aren't destroyed and everything. And he's like, well, that's my best plan. Also, if that's the case and it fails, you guys would step up. And it's like, that'd be an interesting way to see what would happen if the human race did step up in that kind of way, because throughout the series, every kind of higher power or whatnot, or kind of other being is usually shown to be a dick. Or if they are usually shown as a dick, it's usually because of what they've gone through, and they usually change at least a little bit going forward in the story. And you can kind of see Chuck and his understanding. He's like, I had, when he was explaining to Dean why he kind of left, he's like, I had to let you guys grow up because I would step in and teach you and you'd still do the same things. Maybe by messing up on your own, you'd learn on that. And that's how it usually has to happen. And it was like, that makes sense, but Dean's still like angry about that, but he's not angry enough to be like helping Amara, because they were able to pinpoint where Amara and Lucifer were thanks to the prophet, and Dean was able to distract Amara enough for Sam, Metatron, and Donatello to get Lucifer out of there. And they're like, alright, Lucifer, get us out of here. He's like, I got no juice. And I was like, oh crap. And then Metatron decided to sacrifice himself. He used a spell that he thought would work, and then Amara destroyed him. And it was a really fitting end for Metatron at this point, because they kind of developed his character, and I don't know where they really would have went for him, unless they angeled him back up, he turned back into a dick, and the cycle continues. But I thought it was a pretty fitting end, and pretty cool how they showed how he had changed since being reverted into a human by losing his grace. And it was interesting because Amara wants Dean to kind of like fuse with her or whatnot. I don't know exactly what her goal is with that. I do know that she probably needs him, but it's telling to see if he will need her or whatnot. And then they got Lucifer back, and God powered him back up. So it's interesting because Lucifer's like, all right, let's take her out. And God was more willing to do that than I thought he'd be. But then again, I think some of the stuff that Dean and like the Winchesters have been saying and doing have kind of been like changing his mind on what to do. So even though he's kind of going in with a plan, I think it's going to be changed up. And everybody knows best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. So we'll see kind of how it goes. And I overall liked what they did because the Prophet like goes back to doing his kind of stuff and he can be called on at any point. But I'm really excited to see where they're going to be taking the end of this season and the beginning of next season, what they're going to be doing there. Because God versus his sister, that's pretty much the biggest thing you can do. Unless it's like, now, on the next episode of Jerry Springer, God's father. And if we start going that route, I'm going to be like, okay. But it would be more interesting if somehow both Amara and God got taken out of play, and somehow Sam and Dean were to take on those respective roles. Because it's interesting that Amara and God are just the dualities. It's kind of different and kind of interesting that they kind of fused all the religions kind of together, or at least kind of like the main ones of like Western religion and like Eastern religion with like the balance. Amara's like represents chaos, where God represents order, and they're locked in this never-ending struggle of trying to find balance. And I really kind of like that in this. And I'm kind of interested to see where it goes from here. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.